Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm here with a bit of a different video. I'm actually just gonna focus on my Panda palette, which is here, and I'm gonna repress and franken some of the shades in here. This is what the palette looks like currently. I did actually start crushing this shade up here, but I forgot I was gonna film this video, and then I remembered. So I'm gonna start with this shade right here, which I do want to repress, and by doing so I'm just gonna kind of start with crushing this up and put it into this container here so I can mix it with some alcohol and start repressing it. But yes, I'm gonna start by, like I said, mixing this up, and I just break this up into small little chunks, and I'm not too kind of fussed about making it too fine currently. Yeah, I just want to get it out of this pan. And now when I have it all broken up, I'm gonna put it into this container, like I said, so that we can start mixing it with alcohol. And I just want to make sure I get all of the last bit of eyeshadow. So there you have the eyeshadow. Currently it's all empty, so I'm going to put this to the side and focus on this bowl right here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my isopropyl alcohol, which I have in this plastic bottle, and I am going to start by putting a few drops in there just to mix it up and kind of create a paste. But actually I think what I'm going to do before that, I'm just going to break this up a bit more so I don't have any chunks, because that will make it repress more easily. This is not too important when you're repressing just one shade. If you do a Franken shade, I feel like that is more important, but I just want to kind of get rid of the really large chunks. There we go, and I'm just going to put, like I said, a few drops of alcohol in there so I can start making a paste. So that's good. Maybe like one more drop I think is good. Used to not make it too dry, but I don't want to make it too liquidy either. So I feel like it has actually a good amount of alcohol. I'm hoping you can see that there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by transferring it back into this pan, and hopefully be able to capture or like save as much as possible. But I'm going to put that back in here. There we go, that is all of the eyeshadow, and I'm gonna just start by kind of pushing it down. I do not think that this will be enough to kind of cover the whole bottom of the pan, so I'm gonna try to focus it as much in the middle as I can to kind of make it centered there. This might be a bit tricky depending on how much alcohol you put in, but I feel like that is good. So what I'm going to do next is I'm just going to take some paper towel and start kind of pressing this down to absorb some of the alcohol, but also to kind of shape it down evenly. And I'm just taking some kitchen roll and kind of doubling that up and pressing down gently. And like I said, I want to kind of just get this as even as I can. If it doesn't cover the whole pan, that is okay. I just, like I said, want it to be even and slightly more pressed so that it can stay in the pan better rather than be really loosely pressed. So I actually think that is good. You can see it right there. It didn't completely cover the edges, but that is okay. I don't want it to make it too thin either. I feel like I actually had less product left than I thought I would, so I'm happy with this one. I'm just gonna go ahead and clean out this little top, and we're gonna move on to the next shade. So there you have the palette now, and what I'm gonna do for this one is I'm actually gonna bring in a separate palette, which is actually my Modern Renaissance, because I will need some of the eyeshadow from here, because I'm actually gonna try to create my own transition shade. And by doing so, I'm gonna take some of this brown eyeshadow right here, and then I'm going to take some of Tempera in my Modern Renaissance and just mix them together to make this slightly lighter, because I did try to use this as a transition shade over the last month, but it is just a tad too dark, and I just think I will get so much more use out of it if it is slightly lighter. And if I do want a like dark brown, I will use this one, but I don't think I will need the full kind of pan of this. So I will probably take like maybe 2/3 of this and repress into here as a transition shade. But I'm just going to wing it to see how it goes. I'm just going to start by scraping some of this brown shade out in the little top. So I don't want to break this eyeshadow completely, so I'm going to try to scrape more kind of evenly just so I don't ruin it, and then we'll see how that goes. Otherwise I'm just going to take out a chunk, but I'm going to try to do it this way to start with. So as you can see, I've actually just kind of hit the pan right here. So I think that's a good amount because I don't want to, like I said, use all of that. So I'm going to put that aside for now, and I'm going to wipe up my little instrument and start taking some of tempera out. With this one again, I'm going to do the same. I don't want to kind of break the whole pan. I just want to kind of scrape off some of the layers so that I can yeah, just get some of the lightness in there. I'm not gonna try to pan because I don't want to pan my eyeshadows by scraping normally, but if that happens, then that happens. And also, since these shadows are quite shallow, I might actually do that. But I'd rather kind of create like a regular dip rather than just crack it like I said. So we'll see, but I'm gonna be as gentle as I can with this eyeshadow. So I've scraped a little bit out of this one now, as you can see, and I'm going to start with that just to see how the color comes out, and if I need to add more after, I will do so. I'm just going to clean up here a bit, and I'm going to start by mixing these two shades together. So like I said before, when I press the shimmery shade, it's more important to kind of mix these shades together more when there's two of them. Because otherwise you may get more of kind of a marble shade or a slightly kind of speckled shade rather than an even color. So I'm going to try to mix this as much as possible, and I will be right back. So I've mixed this one together now, and I've also swatched out these shades. So there is the original shade, as you can see, and this is kind of the lighter version. It's a bit more kind of cool tone brown than the original shade, and I think that's because tempera is more of pinky kind of nude, but I'm quite happy with that shade now, and I feel like that's going to be a really good transition shade. I don't want to change it too much because this one was almost okay as a transition, just a tad bit, like I said, too dark. So this one here I think will be good. So I don't want to mix too much of tempera in. I think that it will just be too much eyeshadow and it will be kind of harder to use up eventually. So I am actually going to just repress this into the palette, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to repress it into this empty slot right here where I had that orange shade before, and you see how it goes. But I'm going to start like I did before and mix in some alcohol in here just so I can transfer it over and start repressing. I feel like I will need a bit more alcohol this time because it is a little bit more eyeshadow, but I think that will be good to start, and then I'm just going to kind of mix this in right here. So I think that's good. I actually might have added a little bit too much, but that's okay. I'm going to start by transferring this over to this little empty pot again, and then just be right back when that's done. So I transferred over as much as I could right there. That is what it looks like currently. It looks quite dark, but I think that's just because there's loads of alcohol in there. And I'm just going to take a new paper towel and start repressing it, similar to what I did here, and try to just make it as even as possible. Since I have a bit more alcohol in here, I'm going to try to remove some of the alcohol first, just to kind of make it a little bit less wet, so it will be easy to repress. But while doing so, I'm still going to try to kind of just press it down evenly to make it more of an even pan. And there you have the eyeshadow. It is not completely kind of flat or anything, but I think that's pretty good. It's just a repressed eyeshadow, so it's not going to be perfect. But I'm hoping it's going to dry down to be more of this similar shade to what I repressed. It should be because it's just alcohol in there, but you never know how mattes repress. But I am quite happy with that, and I think that kind of wraps up this video too. I could technically repress this shade or like this shade, but this shade I feel like I can use a bit more before repressing, so I'd rather do that just so I can track my progress with the pan that's already existing. And this one I don't think I will have any problems with using up the way it is. I don't think I will have to repress that just with the kind of brush that I use it with. But that is it for this video. I will have how this looked when it was dry completely in my next update video, so stay tuned for that, and hopefully I will be able to get some more use out of this eyeshadow palette now when it is repressed and frankened. But that, you guys, was all for this video. I really hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Otherwise, I will catch you in my next video. Have a nice day.